So can you hear me fine then?
Oh, we're live? Okay.
Yes, we're live now.
Okay.
Oh,
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. What's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfuckers. With nary signs. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
With Missy.
Just let me finish my thought before you fucking interrupt me. Wrong room to ask questions.
Welcome to the party, pal!
And Mike Markadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla, boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
Sorry. Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast. Your favorite podcast where you come to listen and watch, if you're watching us live. People argue, debate, and talk shit over nothing. I am Nary Science. With me as usual was Mike Mercadal, but he's on
he just disappeared.
And he literally just disappeared as the recording started.
This is a professional setup, guys.
Professional setup. I don't understand why he couldn't be inside. Why isn't he inside? So yeah, that's Mike.
I'm just waiting for Mike to like drop into darkness at some point.
And then with us today is Steph Niemeyer Sr. First of all, Mike is in Miami, or I know you might be thinking, Neri, isn't that? Oh, that's our good. But people are thinking, Neri, isn't that where you are? Aren't you in Miami? I'm like, yes. Like, oh, aren't you in the same place? No. Mike, why are you not indoors?
Why am I not indoors?
Yeah,
because
is it
I
like
can be out here?
Yes, but doesn't Wi-Fi get stronger the closer you are to the router?
I mean, if you guys want to hang out with my mom and my stepdad watching, some show, that's fine.
But wouldn't the Wi-Fi signal be strong? Because you've already gone off twice, pre-recording, and once when we. But my point is, wouldn't it be?
Well, I'm on my phone. Okay, so I'm on my phone, so I can't do. I went to go share the video on Facebook.
Oh, you can't do two things. Yeah, that makes sense.
I can't do two things at once. But
hey, is our Facebook WuBro or WuBro Pod?
WuBro Pod.
Right. All right, so I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to send it out to the Twitterverse.
Did I accomplish it without?
I have zero clue. I have zero clue. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, yeah, I am in Miami, and I did fly in today. And I think the goal was to go over there, but also when I got here, I got sleepy and I went to bed. Took a nap, and then also I was genuinely like. I thought about it because I was stuck in my plane for an extended amount of time because it didn't land in Miami originally. It was an interesting day, and then because we flew to Miami, we got this close to the ground, and then we went back up in the air, and then we flew to West Palm Beach. And
why?
Because a storm was hitting right as we were about to land, and they were like, "Yeah, we overshot the runway." Because of poor visibility, so we're gonna have to go back and try again on another runway. And then as they were like, "Oh well, they've scrapped everybody landing until 2:45. We're diverted to West Palm Beach." And I happened to be sitting next to a freak out lady, one of those anxious flyers.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Somebody! Oh my god! We're gonna die! I knew it! I knew it!
Right. She was also, speaking of kids, she was also one of those people that had her kids with her and was blaming her kids. Like, I'm just worried about my kids. Like, and the kids are just there smiling on their iPads, like, have no clue what's going on. Your kids are fine. And dude, she was like, I'm getting off this plane. And they're like, no, we're not going to, we're just getting gas. And then we're going back. And she's like, I'm leaving the plane. I'm getting off. And
How?
Yeah, I don't know. She asked us. It was me and then this other dude sitting next, because I got upgraded. I got the bigger seats from a big ass, and it was like, hey, can you put the window up so I can see? I'm kind of a nervous flyer. This is the first thing she said to us when we all sat down, and I was like, so you can see it coming? What are you gonna do? Like, what is that gonna do for you that you're just like, oh, the window makes it better? Like, no, what are you gonna? It's a Patton
Well,
Oswalt joke.
maybe they just need to see something that's not the same four walls type of deal. I know it's not a four wall. We get what I'm saying? Like,
I know,
they
but
just
Claustrophobia, I guess, to them.
see the open area, they need to see open space, and maybe that calms them down.
yeah. I
But
think that there's
it doesn't affect
definitely
Mike, so therefore, fuck it. That's what I'm saying, right, Mike? If Mike is like, I don't suffer from that, so fuck you, and you're
no.
stupid.
It's
And you
not that.
can't see it coming.
No. It's not that. It's that there's a moment. There's never a more obvious moment that you are not in control than when you're on an airplane. Like, you are not in control of that. You are you are in a compressed metal tube with like a sardine packed level of humanity. You're just along for the ride. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
If the
you've just
plane
rolled the
does-
dice.
If the plane does that little dip thing where your like balls come up and everything, like, enjoy it. There's
Wait,
I
what?
did.
Wait, hold on. I'm not a man, so please. What?
The weightless feeling of when it like drops, like a roller coaster, like when you feel that it like lifts you up a little bit, like that. There's nothing you can do. Nothing.
Wait, does that affect your anatomy? Like, to you guys? Like,
I mean,
My balls are apparently not that big because I've never felt it in my balls. I felt my stomach because I got a big one, so I felt that my stomach has gone like risen up and this like very much like a roller coaster.
it's just
but
a
I've never-
sensation. I don't know if my balls are physically lifted from the airplane dropping a little bit. Actually,
I just think it's interesting that you kind of feel it down there too. I just always imagined the stomach.
We don't.
I actually had one time
You're
where
like,
the
it's
plane
not a wee
dropped
thing.
so much that I came up off the seat. Like, it was one of those really bad storms. It was me and my brother flying out of Atlanta, and the plane did one of these where it just went whop, and my brother and I literally like came up off the seat. Everybody freaked out. Everyone was like, "Oh shit!" And like, yeah, it was intense. But that was today, where we rerouted. We were sitting on the plane for an hour and a half. People yelling, complaining, people pulling off their masks. And I was like, hey, I don't know if you want me to come over and spread disease to your family potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sick? Is that what's happening?
I wasn't feeling good when I landed. I mean, I don't know if it was just like the tiredness of traveling or whatever, but I was like, I took a nap. I genuinely I went unconscious. I took a coma, like that fucking
just a little coma.
Just a coma.
All right. I haven't gone on a plane since Christmas. And that was still pre-vaccine. So there was no, like, I feel like people now are feeling more comfortable and they're like, I don't give a fuck about this mask. And I'm like, but you should.
Yeah. They're emboldened.
Yeah, and I get it. I understand. Like, I'm like, right now, what the medical professionals have told me is that my body's full of antibodies that they're like, yeah, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, it's not, you're fine. But
there have been people who've gotten it twice, right?
Yes. I don't know if like they get it twice within a certain time frame. Not again, I'm not a medical professional. Do not fucking take what I say as Bible.
As anything.
Michael went dark all of a sudden.
No, I'm moving because there's a motion sensor light that is making it look like I'm in space over here. Like, pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, that's it. So anyways, we are not as international as we normally are because we normally have Australia, Miami, and New York. Mm-hmm. But now we're just Miami, New York. How boring is that? But Mike, you're going to Hawaii.
I'm going to Hawaii. That's right. I'm going to Maui with a group of people that I travel with from the hospital. There you go.
All right.
So these are like coworkers you actually genuinely get along with.
I mean, depends. Yeah, I get enough to not kill each other. They were the ones I went to Japan with. It was my friend Karen. She's, not married, doesn't have any kids or anything like that. So she's got tons of disposable income, baby. And And,
What was that
so
life? I forgot that life.
And so she travels, and she's the travel friend, but she's also the coordinator friend who's like, hey, I'm planning
Those are
a trip to
great.
wherever. Yeah. One of the best type of friends to have, the one that's like, hey, we're going here. Here's how much it's going to cost for everybody per person. And this is what we're doing. And then you're like, yeah, okay, sure. Of course. And then boom. And then now we're just like, we're going to Hawaii. We went to Japan.
I miss having type A friends over here. Like I have some who are pretty type A, but I only see them like here and there, and they kind of do a lot more like local things, mind you, COVID notwithstanding.
Yeah. Well, also,
but like, I used to have friends who would just set the whole thing up and be
like I know when I had an ex-girlfriend that was over there, and then you could just pick up and go to Southeast Asia like super cheap, right? Like, you could go to like Thailand and Philippines and.
Yeah, over here, like you know how some people spring break over in Miami or in Mexico. Like over here, people spring break in Bali.
What's super cheap? Like I'm trying to figure that out because what's cheap for one is not cheap for the other.
I don't know. Like you could do round trip to Japan. I've heard of some of my friends going there because like it was like something was like on sale for like $600. So they went to Japan and back.
Still not.
You can like, I mean, it's cheaper than it would usually be. Bali can sometimes only cost like somewhere close to like $300.
That's not bad. Come on, that's cheaper than Disney.
Yeah, and then once you're there, things are considerably cheaper.
Cheaper than Disney for whom? Like, when you have children, that is not cheaper than Disney.
We have children. What do you mean? Like, isn't Disney
about?
super freaking expensive?
Disney is more expensive than what that is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant it the other way around. If you have children, yeah, that's cheaper than Disney. But if it's just by yourself, you could do Disney on the fucking cheap. At least I can. Take my food with me. Take my food with me and do a fuck.
That's where it was. Like now that we're visiting, like I'm here with my mom. I remember like all the memories come back. Like we used to just drive. She'd pick us up from school on a Friday and be like, "That's where we're going." And me and my brother would be like, Disney World! And we would go with like a backpack full of sandwiches and where you could just bring all your shit with you into the park. And it was like a treat if you got a Mickey ice cream, like it was like a treat. And then, like now you walk through the door and you smell the popcorn and it's like $23.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back in the day, it's like, I just have a very visceral memory of like eating an orange while staring at a churro.
Right. Yeah, everybody's got like those big nasty turkey legs, and you're there with your like ham and cheese, like motherfuckers.
Bro, I decimate those turkey legs every time I go.
There's a picture of me at Horror Nights, like just holding one like a caveman, like 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 straight up Viking shit with it coming down off your face. I love those things.
I've never had one.
What?
Yeah,
they're so good.
Okay, so here's the thing with me. Right? Because I'm a fat dude, I don't like doing fat people stuff. Meaning,
yeah, I get that.
I don't like, especially in public, but it's not that I'm ashamed or I just don't want to be anybody looking at me being like, oh yeah, that's a fat. You know what I mean? Like, it took me a long time to have deep fried Oreos, even though the idea, the first time I ever heard it, sounded amazing. I was like, that sounds amazing. I would love to have that, but I'm not going to have that. In fact, the only reason I had it is because John Panay came out while I was on stage, and he came out from the green room at the Miami Improv with a tray, and he said, "Try it." Like literally interrupted my act. Try it, and we had this whole thing back and forth, and it was great, and it was funny, whatever. And so that's the only reason I tried deep fried Oreos. But I don't ever want to be the fat guy who's also the fat sloppy guy. Like with like,
sloppy.
Well, the picture that you just mentioned of you with shit all over your face.
But that was a gag. That was like being acted up.
But if you exchange, I don't like eating chicken wings for the same reason. I literally stand the chicken wing on the plate and then strip it with a fucking knife and then just get the meat.
Now
I don't like eating chicken wings.
Let me ask you a question. And I understand it's your choice or whatever, but do you think they would suddenly understand if you're a fat guy when you do that or not? Like that they see you doing that, like with the eating a chicken leg or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, fat guy." You know, like
No, they're just like,
why'd you
oh, they're
pride
just gonna be like,
yourself?
No,
they're
people
it's gonna
judge.
be like,
Like
oh,
people
look at
judge.
that. Like it would be like, oh, that's why he's that. That's why he's fat. Look at him. It's like
Look,
that.
it's a very different optic when you see like a little cutesy girl who happens to be getting messy, because then you're like, oh, look at that, she's just digging in. And then when you see a person who's heavier, immediately like some people just
It's a
get
thing.
judging.
But it's
Oh,
the same thing. It's
I
the same
fully
reason why.
understand.
It's the same
Yeah.
reason. Like when I was a kid growing up, we used to very stereotypically, we fit the stereotypical mode of that. We used to pack the fucking cars as much as possible.
Yeah.
A 5-seater was not a 5-seater, bro. A 5-seater was like, let's pack this bitch in and let's see how many people we can get. And it's very stereotypical to the Hispanic community. It's like,
Yeah.
whatever. So we did that for a long, long time. And then even in my teenage years, when you're a teenager, not because you're Hispanic, but because you're fucking broke and only one of your friends has a car. So we're gonna pack this shit in, right?
Mhm.
And then as I got older and I was able to like afford a car, or even how shitty, no matter how shitty the car was, I was always with the logic of, I don't want to fucking ever show up to a place and then have 10 people come out of a 5-seater and then they'd be like, oh, look, those are those Hispanic people. Like, there go those Hispanic people again.
Right.
And so
grew
I
up-
always make it a point to be like, whoever fits in my car, but we're not squeezing anybody in. With the sole exception of SuperCon 3 years ago, when we were literally just going from the convention center to back to our hotel, and we packed our minivan in. Like it was like, all right, everybody coming, but it was like literally and it's like, oh fucking, that I had no.
Yeah.
I
There's
didn't
also
know.
family vibe with that group that you went with too.
Well, it's not even that. It's because I don't care, but there was never the judgment. I'm never worried about the judgment from the people I'm with. It's always like other people that
Mhm.
don't that see me and be like, "Look, those are those Hispanics again." But I knew that these, even going from the convention center to the hotel, I knew that only people around there were going to be nerds, and they're all the same. Like we're all the same.
See, I understand that because I go through phases of that. I think where you're concerned, like I'll go through phases where I am concerned about what people think about how I look or how I act or whatever, and then I'll go through other phases where I'm like, I don't give a fuck, because with the eating thing, right? Like the eating in public, I'm gonna be fat in public regardless of whether I'm having fun or not. Like, why don't I just
Yeah.
have fun? You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna see a fat guy eating something. Might as well make it something I'm gonna love.
I mean, I get it logically. I get it logically, and I'm the first person. I promote body positivity all the time to people, and I try to hype everyone up. But I am not gonna lie, like post-pregnancy body, and like the weight I've gained and all this stuff. Like, there are certain things I just don't do as innately as I used to, and it's some of it's like just. It's so weird and it's so hard to describe, but like sometimes I don't want to be seen, and then I feel so fucked up for having that thought that I'm like, no extra see me. Fuck you.
I'm gonna get
and then
real.
I realize it's all happening in my head.
I'm gonna get real. Q, our friend Q, our mutual friend Q, just had her birthday barbecue 2 days ago, like 3 days ago, whatever it was. And this was planned. There was a surprise thing that was planned by her wife and the whole thing, like weeks in advance. And only people who were invited were people who were vaccinated. It was like that was like the thing. Like you can't come if you're not vaccinated, or whatever. And there was a group chat and the whole thing, and I did not go because I gained so much weight during COVID in the last year, not the first 30 days, or let me rephrase that, not just the first 30 days or not, but I haven't physically seen any of my friends, like really, like, I mean, for our drive-by baby shower, a couple of them passed by and drove by, whatever, but it was only for like 2 or 3 minutes at a time, and then they left. And even then it was already like, whatever. But my point is, I didn't go to the barbecue because I was like, this is going to be the first time I see these people in over a year. And I felt so bad about myself that I was like, I don't want to go. This is the first time I'm saying this out loud because I was just like, oh, I got shit to do, the fucking kids and, the baby. And I totally, and not that I wasn't busy, but I know if I had not gained the 65 pounds that I had gained during COVID, I would have gone. But when
I get that.
gain that much weight in that period of time, and it's not like these people have seen me every day for the last year, so it's like, oh, whatever. It's like they haven't seen me in a year. So I, like, in my mind, my fear was they're gonna see me and then be like, because everybody's gonna be like, oh my god, we haven't seen each other in a long. Like SNL had that skit, right, where they're like, every conversation that every person has, when they see somebody for the first time since COVID. They're like, "Oh my god, how have you been?" And da da da, like all the same bullshit conversation. But it's like, "Oh my god, I haven't seen you in a while," and I know their logic. I know their thought is gonna be like, "Man, he's fucking gained weight, huh?" Like, holy shit. At least that's the way I perceived it. That was my whole body.
I get
But I did go,
that.
and I felt bad, and I was like, and then Missy was like, "Why aren't you coming?" And I was like, "Oh, it's the baby and the guy, whatever."
Baby.
My children. I'm worried about my children. I turned into that lady that sat next to Mike at the plane.
yeah. It's not me. It's my child. No, it's. I totally get it. I'll tell you this. I'm the heaviest I've been. I went to the doctor before I left down here a couple of days ago because I had my physical, like my annual whatever, and I was confronted very rudely by the fact of my weight in a number form that I cannot ignore anymore. Because this whole time I've just been like, it's COVID, whatever, and then they're like, you weigh 292, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here, really? I was almost like get the fuck out of here, like no way, who's pranking me? This is purely a prank of some kind.
It's a bit now on stage, and it's a good bit, and but the whole COVID thing has given me a chance because now I'm unemployed, so now I have Medicaid, and it's so like it's giving me the chance and the time, because usually I'm really busy traveling and doing gigs, to go to the doctor for the first time in years, to get and just a normal checkup, not like, oh, I have the flu, give me some antibiotics. It's like a normal checkup, and it's for the first time in easily 6 years that I went to the doctor. And so the way the real story went is that I went to the doctor that same day. I had a show at the beach, and Alex Morinzio, I don't know if you guys remember Alex.
Yeah.
Alex Morinzio, he's an actual surgeon. He's a comedian he does comedy, but he's an actual surgeon at a hospital. Like, he's a medical surgeon, right? I'm always like fucking super, because he's not like just
pulmonologist. I thought he was ICU pulmonologist.
No, he's in charge of surgery at whatever hospital. He's like, so he's a big deal, right? But he's a surgeon, so he's actual medical knowledge. And I saw him that night, and he did that thing. He was like, "Man, you've got him big," right? That thing, which I did first. I was like, "Hey, man, how you doing? Fuck, you look great, whatever, blah, blah." And he goes, "Hey, man, you doing great." He goes, "How you doing?" I'm like, whatever, fucking gaining weight, whatever. He goes, "Yeah, man, you got it," So he gave me that doctor look, like, yeah. And so I told him, I went to the doctor for the first time today. And then, as I swear, he's so good, because as a doctor, he makes you feel like he cares, right? Because that's good bedside manner. Now, he's an actual friend of mine, so I'm not saying he doesn't care. I'm just saying that I know that this is his doctor thing, where he goes, "What did they say?" And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Maurizio's like that too. Maurizio's always very like.
Yeah, and then I was like, "What the fuck do you think he said, Alex? What do you think he said? You think he said, 'Oh, you're fine, you're doing good, and there's nothing I could give you, no fucking advice. You're perfect, nothing.' What the fuck do you think the doctor said?"
You're batting 1,000, buddy. You're and weighing 1,000.
Yeah, so then that's that's the joke now on stage. I turned it into my wife because it's too long to explain a medical friend, and blah blah. But it was like, I turned it into my wife asking, like, "Oh, what did the doctor say? Like, what the fuck do you think he said?
What do you think? Yeah.
Like, what do you think he said? Like, what do you? Oh, you're great. I could give you no advice. You're doing fine on your own. I should be getting your advice. I'm like, what do you think the doctor said? Look at me. What the fuck do you think he said?"
I'm going to give you 3 guesses to what you think the priorities this doctor has for me right now. I'm going to give you 3. But okay, so
I don't know. I think I took it a little insulting when at the beginning of my pregnancy, when I went in to see my doctor, and like one of the first things she told me is like, "Okay, cool. So we needed to talk about your diet, so you don't get this, you don't get diabetes, all this stuff." And I was like, "Oh, bitch, I know I've gained some weight. Damn." like it was really, immediately the first concern.
Well, I mean, that should be the first concern. That should be the first concern. Like, what did you want? Do you want him to beat around the bush and be like, "Oh, so let's talk about your hair color"? We'll talk about
the doctor. Like, I was going in fresh into pregnancy. There's so many other things the doctor could have talked to me about, like my age, just like family history, anything like that. But because I'm how old am I? 35.
How old am I? Perfect answer. How do I?
I'm 35. I'm 35. I was 34 pregnant. And then it's considered a geriatric pregnancy.
Yeah, I know. My wife turned 35 when she was 7 months pregnant. And because they knew she was going to turn 35, during the pregnancy, they classified her as a high risk, as a geriatric. They did that, and I'm like, but you're gonna give birth like 2 months after your 35th birthday. Who gives up? Like, that's really still? And they're like, no, because that's like the magic number. It's like the moment you turn 35.
Mhm.
If you are due the day after your 35th birthday, you are in that fucking. There's no gray
It's
area.
super comforting. Super
Yep.
comforting.
I don't feel bad.
Well,
I mean,
to
she
be-
was right. I ended up getting gestational diabetes, but fuck.
yeah, and she's like, well, I am a doctor and I nailed it. So, well, here's so going back to the thing. That's one of the things I'm dealing with now. Where you know how like you didn't want to go to this barbecue. I planned this vacation where I'm going to the beach with my friends who I haven't seen in years, and I'm going to be like
Probably snorkeling and hiking and.
Yeah, I'm gonna be topless. The point of it is, as like a fat kid who wore T-shirts to the beach, you know, and shit like that. There's inherently like this shame, but also there's this moment of like, I genuinely like they're gonna see me do it. I'm not gonna do it. I wasn't not gonna go to Hawaii. I wasn't not gonna go on vacation. I'm not gonna do something because I'm like slightly embarrassed by what I look like. Yeah, or
There's also hold on. There's also a difference between missing a neighborhood barbecue and fucking Hawaii.
Yes, true.
There's
But what I'm
also
saying
a
is that-
difference. Like my level of shame may be at the level of missing a neighborhood barbecue gathering. I don't think it's quite at the level of not going to fucking Hawaii. Like
No,
that,
I
there's a
understand,
different level of shame. And
But
also,
no, it just still does get to you. I have gone on certain trips like heavier than I'd like, and then I think in my head about like the photos that'll live forever, and all that stuff. And it's just
as
so
long as
weird
you-
having that in your head. Like,
as long as you take them, you'll never see them again. So
I'll
that's
never
a
be in
shot
them
at
if I
you.
take them.
That's a shot at you for not giving me my family's photos.
I gave them to you ages ago. I don't understand where this reference comes from.
Because me and
At
my
this
entire
point.
family, my mother, my father, my aunt, my sister, everybody, we went down to the beach and we took pictures and we never got those pictures. That's what the reference is. Literally,
Honestly, to this day, I don't remember what happened to them. I don't.
Mike,
I think back and I'm like, I had them in my computer. I had them edited. I don't know what happened.
Mike, quick question. How
Sure.
badly are you hoping that everybody else gain weight too?
Sure. I mean, here's the thing.
How badly? Sure.
Sure.
Yeah,
You know,
Of course.
within
a-
amount.
It's a non-zero number, but also like I'm really trying not to think about it in those terms because like, man, this is what I look like right now. It's not going to be what I look like later, and it's not what I look like before, but this is what I look like now. The only things that I worry about, genuinely, as someone who's like in the last year, I had COVID. My lungs are still weird. You know, like I don't give a shit as much about how I look now as being able to do stuff. Like genuinely, like when I broke my arm, and I was like, I wasn't able to use my right hand, my fucking dominant hand. Nothing but strangers for me. You know, like I had to go lefty, and everything was harder to do. I couldn't climb. I was like, I felt like invalid. Like I couldn't do shit. So it's shifted into this thing of like, I don't give a shit about what I look like as long as I can do something. I'll get where I'm going later. I'll look different later. You know, like you're never gonna like. I'm trying, and look, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying, but it's a conscious thought that I have to have, where I'm like, but like I was saying, like if I'm eating a turkey leg, it's not like they're like, oh, look at Mike, how thin and svelte he's looking, and then I put a turkey leg to my lips, and they're like, oh no, I was wrong, he's fat. You know, like there's not going to be that delineation.
Right. But here's the thing, Mike.
Suddenly it's going to reveal to them that I look like this.
But here's the thing, Mike. Your level of fat is not my level of fat. Like that's it's the heaviest you've been, which is, you know, again, I'm not saying like, oh, I don't want to be dismissive because I hate people that go, you're not fat, and then I just fucking dismissive. Like that's the way you feel. If you feel fat, then you feel fat. Like it's not whatever. It's not a competition. It's not any of that. It's just a level of fat. It's like if I weighed what you weigh right now, measuring 4 inches shorter, I will be back to my pre-COVID time.
Oh wow, yeah. But
so it's a level of you know, it's funny. I could see the listeners right now doing the math. Like,
it's like that scene in the the Hangover.
Yeah.
But truth be told, it boils down to I don't mind looking fat. I hate feeling fat. Those are two very different things.
Those are very different things, and it's worse when it's both. When you look and feel fat, that's the worst. I mean, I'm being honest, man. I went to North Carolina for Christmas, and my in-laws have a beautiful, like, their backyard is like one of those. They have a backyard that's fenced in, right? But like right outside, like you leave those fences, and like the rest of the area is like a communal, like huge. There's a lake and there's trees and there's like a huge thing.
It looks like a country music video.
Right. In order to get to the lake, it's a bit of a fucking hike. And I don't mean like a drastic hike. I mean, I wasn't able to do it. I was able to in 2018, I was able to fucking do that hike. 2019, I was able to do that hike. And then came December 2020 when I was there, and I was like gasping, and I was like, my feet were fucking just yelling. My feet were like, dude, what the fuck? Because it was like the first kind of physical activity that I had done in a year. And it got down to the point where every day they were like, we're gonna go for a walk. Nary, you want to come? And I'm like, no, I'm all right. I'll just sit here and watch TV. For the simple fact that I knew I was like, I don't want to. That's gonna be dangerous for me to be fucking making that hike. And it's not a crazy hike. Like, I wish I could show you the walk. It's a nice walk. It's like a nice walk. There's a hill. There's a little bit of a hill at one point, and it goes like it's, but it's nothing crazy. It's nothing like, man, you got to be a fucking triathlete to make. Like, my kids make that walk easy. Like, it was kind of shit. Like, and I was like,
that's a vicious cycle, though. That's that vicious. Trust me, man. I do that thing where I because I wake up early to go to work, and then when I get home, I'm exhausted. I wake up at 5 a.m, and then I get out of work.
Yolanda says numbers are hard. She's doing the math in her head.
Yeah, but I went to like I'll crash, and then I'll get like really like inactive, because then the cycle perpetuates that inactivity. Because then now it's harder to start doing workouts again. And I bought a kettlebell, but fuck, I'm not gonna do the kettlebell thing. And because like there is that genuine that starting point of it sucks like at the beginning. Yeah. Like, remember when you were doing CrossFit and you were like digging it, you were like liking it. I like that feeling of like starting every time is fucking trash. It's the worst because there's no like shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. You have to do it.
I got on the I bought an elliptical and during COVID, because I was like, I'm gonna work out during COVID, and 2 weeks, like a week last week, I started doing 5 minutes, and I had to take a break. I couldn't do 5 minutes straight, and I keep telling myself, "Oh, it's an elliptical / Stairmaster," and I'm like, yeah, but fuck you. That's like 5. You couldn't, like, I literally had to split up the 5 minutes in between 2.5 minute fucking time intervals. And it was, and the next day I felt like I had worked out. Like, I didn't work out. That's not a workout. No. You doing the elliptical for 5 minutes is not a workout.
You haven't done anything in a while. Like, you do have to be kinder to yourself.
It's hard for me to be kinder to myself, because in my mind, I'm telling myself, in 2018, you were doing an hour on the elliptical.
That's the killer. That's the killer. You're comparing. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, that. This is what you are now. Like, denying. Like, so, if you have that thought, like, it's only a bad thought if it stops you from doing it again tomorrow, right? Like, that's where, like, who should fucking get on here. Like, have you seen Will Watkins?
Yes.
Have you seen that motherfucker?
He's actually in Palm Beach. He's in Palm Beach.
You saw it too, Steph. He is fucking. We keep saying he looks like Aquaman. He's like jacked up comic book Aquaman, like shredded, ripped, but like cut, fucking zero body fat. And then I talked to him, and he's like, "Oh, it's because there's something wrong with my brain. I hate my body, and I have to work out every day, or else I feel weird." And I'm like, man, I wish I had that version of.
I wish mine went in that direction.
But here's the thing, and I'll be honest, that one, and I keep going back to 2019, Nary, but like that 1 year was the 1 year where I was like going to the gym every day. I remember, Mike, we saw in Endgame that year when you came down, and you even told me, like, hey man, you look like you're fucking working out. Your shoulders look like they're muscular. They're actually muscular. And I was still fat by every definition. I'm just saying it was not the same kind of fat. I was like fit fat, what my friend Don Gray calls fit fat. He's like, no, you're fit fat. You're fat, but you're fit. You could run, and you're still a big dude, but you could. Anyway,
you hear that? I compliment my friends. I compliment my
That-
guy friends. You should
Yeah,
all do it.
that was the logic. That was the train of thought that I had that year. That whole year was like, if I took a day off, I was like, oh, okay, I gotta hit it harder tomorrow. Like it was one of those. People had to talk me down from having a day off. Like I had to have people who were like extremely fit, like or trainers, say your body needs a
It needs
rest.
rest.
Stop.
Yeah.
Like they need, but they had to tell me that over and over and over again. That now, if somebody goes, your body needs a rest, I'm like, got it. I'm good. All right, good. Thanks, man. My body needs a
Already
rest.
there.
You're
If
right.
somebody
I have
goes-
been working too hard. You're right. I've been pushing it.
if somebody tells me right now, hey, get on the elliptical, I'm like, bro, rest is as important as exercise. Like we need a rest. Look, check this out. Rookie, let's check out some comments. Rookie says, in COVID time, 5 minutes on the elliptical equals an hour of CrossFit. That sounds
Bro,
about
tell
right.
my lungs.
That's what
Tell
I'm going
my
to go with.
lungs.
Man. But I'm, and I hate doing that, but I'm like I don't want to be that guy that's announcing it, but like that was a kick in the fucking nuts. Going to the doctor. I went to the doctor like a couple weeks ago, and then the cardiologist was like, so how much do you walk? And I was like, from my car to wherever the fuck I'm going. And then he was like, he goes, but how much can you walk? And he said, how much can you walk? I go, I don't know.
Can you?
And I was like, what do you mean? And then I was like, I don't know. He goes, I don't know. I don't walk. And he goes, what do you mean you don't walk? Like he was very confused. He's like, at the mall. Like I'm like, the mall? Where are you fucking COVID?
Yeah, really, where are you going?
Like we're being told not to leave. Cardiologist doctor says this and says, oh, you listen? Wow.
Then
Okay.
you're like, well, my mother-in-law has a house with a fence and a walk and there's and then you're like,
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, it's 100% like okay. I turned 40 this year, and I am as soon as I'm done with this vacation thing, that's when because I've done it. I've done it before. Like I went to the fire academy, I got in shape. I did the whole slow carb thing. I lost weight. As soon as I'm back, I'm going to I'm not gonna ring in 40 weighing 290 pounds. I'll tell you that much right now. And
Well, not after Hawaii. Not after Hawaii, buddy. You're looking at a good 3 bills after Hawaii. That's I'm sorry. We're trying to be positive. No. You're right, man. Don't fucking
No. But here's the thing. Ironically enough, I'm worse at home when I can just order shit to my house because I'm tired.
I told that to people. I tell that to people all the time about
It's
being
harder.
on cruise ships. About being on cruise ships. They think the other way around. They're like, how do you, when again going back to that 1 year, like, oh, you're going to like, how's your eating on the ships, man? Like, that must be difficult. I'm like, it's so much harder when I'm home. Yeah. When I'm on the ship, there's a schedule, there's a regimen, there's
also someone else is like prepping the food for you, so you're already like there.
And that's literally what I tell them. I'm like, when I'm on the cruise, somebody else is professionally cooking for me. All I have to do is just select the right food. It's a buffet. Like I just have to don't pick the chocolate cake. Go to the grilled chicken. Don't pick the chocolate cake. Go back over. Like it's just one of those things. It's way easier when you're not at home, because when you're at home, you're like, and I think Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. What do you feel when you're at home and you're by yourself, or even when you're with loved ones? Like you don't feel judgment, so you're like, I don't.
Yeah.
It's like I'm just gonna eat whatever I want. I'm comfortable.
Comfortable. That feeling of comfort is also a big one, because especially now with like COVID and after my breakup, when I was just like, like there was some change. There was like a dynamic shift where I'm like, I don't want to fucking cook for myself. And what am I going to food prep? I'm going to cook a mountain of food. I'll just order food. But then you order food, you call up the and even in New York where you have like a million different options, I'm not ordering fucking salad. Are you crazy? I'm not going to pay $30 for them to deliver a fucking Caesar salad to my house. I'm going to pay, you know what I mean? Like,
Caesar salad is pretty awful for you, by the way.
Yeah, it's actually really like.
So you might as well get the burger. You might as well.
Caesar salad is the most lying piece of fucking it's a lying piece of shit, that food. It's like, oh, you are so you fucking tricked me. You told me you were healthy, but you are actually 1,000 calories, man. What the fuck?
It's like the word salad's in the name. The word salad. It says salad.
It's a potato salad too, though.
I'm eating McDonald's
macaroni salad.
I'm eating McDonald's McShakers. It's fine, right? Everything's fine.
I'll be on 8. So years and years ago, when I first lost weight, when I was like 300 pounds before, and I lost a bunch of weight, it was because of the routine. It was because I worked on Monday. I worked at a bank. I worked like a set hour job, and I would
Mhm.
literally eat the same thing every day for 6 months, and I lost like 100 pounds. I got down to like
Yeah.
15. And
Yeah.
I will tell you, those McDonald's salad things, anything that's not you going crazy. Like I would eat like a yogurt and banana for breakfast, a salad with an extra grilled chicken thing for lunch, and then for dinner, my mom was doing Weight Watchers at the time, and she would cook Weight Watchers, but she was still serving Cuban style. Like she was
Like a
cooking Weight
mountain,
Watchers.
like a
Yeah.
mountain. It's a
She was
mountain of healthy food, and you're like, well, it's still a mountain, Mom. You don't
So
need a
like
mountain of healthy food.
it's healthy, and I'm like, Mom, it's overflowing off of the side, and then I would take that and I would throw, like I would put back half of it, and I genuinely lost weight, and I gave myself a cheat day, and that was genuinely like for 6 months straight, and I lost a ton of, and I would go to Pollo Tropical, and I
Yeah.
would get a half a chicken and with the 2 Caesar salads. My God, I remember it's like is this it? And I would eat it in the car, like some kind of like it was like they should have had like sad soundtrack music playing, like the weird sad montage.
So you
Where I
know
was
you
just
know what I
like,
had for lunch today? You know what I had for lunch today? I went to Pollo Tropical yesterday, and I got the chicken breast platter, which comes with 2 grilled chicken breasts, just 2. And then for the sides, I just got beans. I didn't get any rice. I just got
Okay.
beans, right? And so that was yesterday. So yesterday I ate 1 chicken breast and 1 of the little beans, and I got myself some avocado,
one
and
bean.
that was my just 1 bean, just 1 bean.
Just
And that
one
was my
like
and that
in
was my
Thankfully.
where
and
they
then
cut
plus
the bean.
yeah, just and then just 1 hour, and then a half avocado, and then today I ate the other half of the avocado, the other chicken breast, and then the other bean. Like that's what I had to split that shit up. And when I was done eating, I was like, all right. I just looked at my plate because I knew I had the other chicken breast, the other bean, the other half of the avocado there, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I could house that. And then in my mind, there was a part of me that literally said, it's all healthy. Just eat it. It's fine. It's all healthy. And I was like,
Right?
no. I
Yeah.
literally stop myself and be like, no, you cannot fucking do it. So I'm on this 2-week bender of eating healthier.
Yeah.
And this week specifically doing really well, as far as, and I'm back on the tracking my meals thing. Like Mike knows about, like anytime you track everything you eat, it really does help you go, oh, because if not, you just go, I didn't eat bad today. You forget that you had that fucking.
Yeah, but I end up running the risk, like, because I was doing my Fitness Pal like ages ago, and at some point it starts getting a bit unhealthy the other way too, though, because I was in the middle of
It's an
like
addiction. It's definitely
it really was like I was tracking everything, and like it projects how much you could lose or you wouldn't lose depending on how you ate today. Like if you ate today, it would take you this long to lose this weight.
Yeah.
And if you have a
Which is
specific goal and
not-
you're trying to hit something, it's not the best thing to paint on a singular day. So, because then all of a sudden I'd have days just so I could satisfy myself and seeing a smaller number. I would eat kind of less than I really should be eating because I wanted
Make up for the other day, whatever.
to make up for the other days. But too many days like that, that's not good for your body. Like it was one of those things where I'm like, oh, I'm running the risk of having an ED in the other direction. Like if I keep doing things like that. So it's just really weird. Yes.
You're running the risk of erectile dysfunction? Is that's the EDI?
I'm
Yeah, I was like,
constantly at
what?
risk for that.
Wow, that sucks. I'm like, fuck that. I'd rather be fat. Wait, sorry. Real quick, before we keep on going, I just want to make sure the listeners know and the viewers know. If you are not a viewer, if you're just listening to this on the audio form, because there's a lot more people still listening to the audio form, and we thank you for that. Just know that we can watch us live every Wednesday on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch, and we are at WuBro Pod all across the board. WuBropod. And you can watch us live. You comment just like Rookie did, just like Yolanda did. Tanya actually did comment earlier, and she was talking about economy style at the vacations.
Yeah.
Just so we were on a roll, so I couldn't stop it. But to the audio listener, watch us on live and participate, be part of the show. Also, if we have a new Cash App feature where if you want to donate to the show, it would be greatly appreciated because all of this shit takes money that I don't really have. So Cash App is the $WuBropod. So it's $WuBropod. If you want to donate, Rookie has donated in the past many times, so I thank him for that. Every year he seems to
Rookie
donate.
is the best, man. Rookie's the day one, man. He's the OG.
Yeah, was he the first? Who was the first? It was
I think-
Rookie.
there was another guy, Izu, it was like Rookie and Izu were the OGs.
Correct,
I remember those were like, we have a fan. They followed us online or whatever.
We have one.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys for that. I did have something that I didn't mean to press it. I'm sorry.
What is that?
That was the Batman. Why did you say that name? Why did you say that name? Hold on. So there's a couple things that I wanted to talk about. I was watching a TV show with my kids, and it's called The Loud House. I don't know if you guys have seen this cartoon. It's a cartoon. It was on Nickelodeon, and it's about a family that has 11 children, and they're all women except for one dude, one boy. So, and very progressive show.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a cartoon?
It's a cartoon. The one little boy's best friend, his parents are interracial gay. It's an interracial gay couple, and I was like, oh shit, that's fucking cool. Like I was like, oh, that's cool. Like to be all right. Anyway, my point to bring this up is that they had an episode like they do with every sitcom, where they have to take care of the egg for home economics. And my daughter asked me if I ever did that, and I said no, I never did that. Now I know in my school at one point they were doing bags of flour.
Yeah.
Instead of the egg, they had to put a diaper on the bag of flour, and they were taking care of the bag of flour. And my question is, did you guys ever do that?
I had to do the egg.
Okay.
I don't remember doing the egg for
my egg had a little face.
Baby.
Yeah. Everybody draws a face on the egg.
Yeah. You get very attached to it when it has a face.
I get it confused with the dropping the egg from, like, you had to create a safety cage or something for the egg in science class. I get that confused all the time where I'm like, I dropped my baby off of a roof. I don't remember. I don't remember.
That's not the same thing.
But I aced
That's
it.
not the same thing. It's like, okay, we're gonna raise this child for a week, and after a week, you're gonna launch it off of this. Like, see,
I
does
wonder
your
why
baby
Mike's
live?
so anti-children now as a grown-up. I wonder why he's so like, I don't want kids.
I'm doing. It's like the beginning of 300 where they throw the malformed children into the cave or whatever.
I could just see Mike. I could just see Mike doing this experiment as a kid and being like, "Yeah, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it." And that's why he doesn't want to have kids. They're like, "Do you want to have kids?" And he has those traumatic. He's like, "I don't want to have to throw them off from a cage." Like, what? What are you fucking talking about? Like, he's just all right. I guess.
I only got to see. Fuck.
It's like it's like in the Mandalorian, the first season, every time the Mandalorian armor would hit the thing, the hammer, he would have like some weird flashback. Every time someone hands me a baby, I'm like fighting the urge to throw the baby.
It's like, so like you had like a baby.
But people have that actual intrusive thought all the time. Like, I don't know how many times I've carried someone's baby, and I'm like, what if the neck falls? What if they fall?
You could just hand Mike a baby, and he's like, so do we put it in the cage and throw the cage off the roof? When did you do that?
And then they're like, okay, we'll take that back. Thank you. No. Or like, it's like, hey, Mike, are you going to have any kids? It's like, no, because I don't want to have to kill it in a week.
Yeah. You know how it is. You got to have a kid.
You know the rules. You know the rules.
And I'm like, no, that's not actually how it goes. But you did the egg thing. I never did the egg thing. And I took, so I took a home economics class in 7th grade. And then I took, what's the name of the course? Fucking A, dude. Now I'm blanking on the name of the course, but it was the cooking course. It wasn't exactly home economics because home economics wasn't just cooking, food production. That's what it was. It was food production 1, 2, and 3. I took that in 2 years because I wanted to be a baker. Like there was a point in time where in my life I wanted to be a baker. And then my junior year, I went to a technical school for half the year to be a baker, the whole thing. But I never took a home economics class, and so there was never like food production is not the same as home economics. Home economics is they teach you about budgeting your like it's a very useful class. They teach you about sewing and cooking, yes, but they also teach you about balancing checkbooks and like what goes like that. It's a real fucking helpful class. But I never took it in high school, so I don't know if that's the class. I'm gonna assume that's the class where these egg things were done, but I
did mine in 7th grade as well, though. The egg thing was middle school. Yeah.
My
for me, it was
school was religious, so they didn't give home ec to boys because that's for broads. No, no, it's that my school didn't really have home ec or anything like that. From middle school on, I remember I was in 6th grade. Before I went to private school, I was in public school, and they had all of these classes where you could do. It was like half of the year was home ec, and the other half was something else, civics or something. And
Typing.
then something. And then you switch. But for some reason, I never got to do the home ec side. I never got to do home ec. They switched me to like an art class or a music class or something else. And I was always like I was like you, man. I wanted to learn how to cook. I wanted to learn how to do all that shit. I wanted to have that kind of like, I wanted to know how to do things. I wanted auto shop. I wanted driver's ed. I wanted all of those, like, I didn't give a fuck about, like science is great. Yeah, good. Science, math, sure, fine. But also like, why do you use math or science? And then they show you in home ec that you're like, okay, here's how you mix 2 cups of this.
Yeah, those are practical.
Yeah.
Those courses are practical versions of the math and science. Like these are like, hey, this is you're actually using
applications to it.
It's Yolanda says that Mike was doing the Heisman with baby.
Oh yeah, I Heisman everybody's baby. That if I would have been over there right now, I would have Heismaned little Lucy. I would have Heisman. Like you get the baby and you hold it. I've done it to both my nieces. And then I inspired other people to do it also because I randomly would get photos of like my friends from work. My friend sent me her husband Heismaning their new baby, and I'm like, yeah, like you hold, you do the Heisman.
Yeah. I don't think you're in shape for that right now, though. So I don't know if you
to hold. Well, no, because you
gotta stand on one leg. You gotta stand on one leg. This isn't just holding the baby. You gotta stand on one leg, Mike. Come on.
You gotta stand on one leg. And then you gotta
jump off the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you need the extra fitness
I want
to land.
so much of this show to be taken out of context. Like there's just gonna be clips that be like, yeah, Mike's gonna kill a fucking baby.
Yeah. This is the clip right now. 51 minutes. That's the clip. I want people to be like, yeah, Mike is gonna be killing a baby. That's gonna be the clip. And please watch WuBro.
Years from now, when I'm running for public office, they'll be like, "You want this baby killer to be leading your civil service?"
He Heisman babies off the roof.
This is crazy. Speaking of off the roof, J-Lo and Ben Affleck are back. So I know Mike is dying to talk about this.
Look, honestly, I just feel like it's like nature is resetting. Things are going back to how they were.
Missy literally called me and said, BFF, you're the only one I could talk to about this. It's been confirmed. I'm like, what? He goes, it's been confirmed. I'm like, what?
Confirmed.
Ben and J-Lo are back. And she's like, and then she's just standing there looking at me, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And
Missy, for future reference, call me. Right?
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. She was like, what do you think? And I was like, well, I don't like this idea. She's like, why? This is, I mean, I know if it's not already a hacky joke, I know it's going to be a hacky joke, but she told me like day one. So when I said it wasn't hacky, I'm sure it's hacky now. But I was like, because if he gives her yet another ring, she's going to complete the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And she'll have total power.
Yes.
So then, again,
I thought you were going to say, I don't want to see Gigli too.
Well, no. But here's the thing. Real, and again, this is total conjecture because I don't know these people. These people, for the most part, are like, I don't know them. So, this is total conjecture what I'm about to say. But it seems like whenever somebody dates Jennifer Lopez, because she's a very classy broad. And she's a very, like, Ben Affleck, for the most part, unless he's with J-Lo, is a very t-shirt and jeans and a baseball cap kind of guy. And everybody that dates J-Lo, including Ben Affleck, gets into a 3-piece suit, slick back hair, and the whole fucking thing.
But he looks good.
I'm not saying that guy's a dreamboat. Fuck anybody who says otherwise. That guy's a dreamboat. Here's my problem with this: is that he is an addict. He has problems, and I don't think the lifestyle of being that fucking bougie, 3-piece suit. I don't think that lifestyle is conducive to somebody who's in recovery. Again, total conjecture. I'm not in recovery. I'm not an addict. Not of alcohol, anyways, because food. I'm there, but
that's an
I just don't think.
take.
I don't think it's going to be good for him. Hope I'm wrong.
You could just kind of refocus on health, though.
I'm a big fan of Ben Affleck, both on and off screen. I'm a big fan of Ben Affleck, but. That's the only thing I'm thinking about. I don't hate J-Lo. I don't judge her. I know a lot of people are like, she just broke up and she's already with another. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Dude. Who gives a shit? I'm not slut shaming her. I don't do any of that. But I am thinking to myself, I don't know if this is the best thing for Ben.
Here's where I'll say. Here's
and
where
again,
I'll
I'm
say.
talking about him like we're a fucking first name basis. I'm talking about him like he's my son.
So here's my take on it. They're in their 50s. Let them do whatever they want. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? J-Lo's 50s. She's not like you know how people make a big deal about like a younger woman dating an older man or whatever. Like, oh, they're being, like, oh, she's only 18 or 19, and then the guy's like 37 or 38, and it's like, well, yeah, fine. That's there's some questionable stuff that can be looked into as a have you been talking to her since before she was when she was a minor and all that stuff.
Oh, like the grooming.
These people these people are in their fucking 50s. Do you know how many people have like fucked up relationships? It's just such a wasted effort to try and talk to, like, who cares? She dated Mark Anthony and did fucking, they're doing fucking coke and shit like that. Like, she's known to be like this huge diva running, like she's very demanding person, and it's like she's fucking 50 and super famous and still super hot. Like she's like upper echelon stardom.
She's doing fine.
They don't live in the same world as you and me and whoever else. They don't live in the same world. Even she's like, that's the thing with A-Rod. He's one of the like biggest names in the professional baseball. She eclipses him. Like, she is so much more fucking famous than anyone she will ever be in her life.
She's a man eater.
I'm not saying she's a man eater. I'm saying that they're like
she's a man eater.
She's not. She's not, dude. Think about her. Like, yes, we've publicly seen her with these men.
Let's first clarify what a man eater is. I'm not saying man eater in a negative way. I'm saying that she goes through dudes because they're not tough enough to hang with her. That's the way I'm saying man eater. She chews them out and spits them out because they can't.
She like run laps around them.
But
because
she's also
they can't hang with her. Yeah.
I think it has to do with fame. I mean, it has to do with the fact that
I know
when
Mark
you're
Anthony
that
was
wealthy,
pretty fucking famous when they got.
Yeah, but he's not super crossover famous.
But that's what. That's different also. Like, because she was Hollywood famous. Mark Anthony is not Hollywood famous. You know what I mean? Like, J-Lo is fucking J-Lo. You know what I mean? Like, Mark Anthony was like this salsero, and he's huge in the Latin community, and we know who he is.
Yeah.
And he's like this icon to Latinos, but he wasn't fucking famous. And then she was dating that.
Remember when he sang the national anthem? Remember when he sang the national anthem at the All-Star game, the Major League Baseball All-Star game a few years ago? He sang the national anthem, and white people lost their fucking minds because they wanted a quote American to sing the fucking national anthem, and like, he's Puerto Rican.
Yeah,
well,
they forget.
It's because they stopped setting it up.
You fucking dumb.
No, it's because they changed up the rhythm. You don't remember? It was like, oh, say, can you see? And
they said, oh, Jose. That's what happened. They changed it to oh, Jose.
That's because they added a little bit of seasoning onto the fucking song, and they lost their shit.
But my point being is that these people are so fucking. This guy, with all of the shit that went down with Justice League, he was gonna be Batman. He's already like he's gone through his arc of trouble. Like, let him just be with this fat ass Puerto Rican chick who's richer than God and more famous than anyone else you'll ever meet in your life, and let him just have his life. He's fine. Like,
I'm not saying don't let him have that. I'm just saying I'm worried about it. Yeah.
I think it's so many people are talking about it like it's your friend Kevin who works at AutoZone. It's not. It's J-Lo and Ben Affleck. It is not. They're gonna be fine. And if they're not, who gives? He's
also a lot more established now that they're getting back together than when they first got together. He
already had won the Oscar when they first got together.
No, he had, but don't forget, just because someone wins the Oscars doesn't mean that the masses know them. But
he was pretty established.
He wasn't not like now.
He was in Armageddon.
But not like now. Post Batman.
Obviously, he's more famous now because he's been in a career, but he's not.
Exactly.
We use the word established. He's just more famous now because he's been doing the same thing longer. But he's
closer to the beginnings.
No. I'll say now he's an Oscar-winning director and producer.
Yeah.
And he's they've done much more than just. He wrote the screenplay for Good Will Hunting. He won the Oscar, but then he went and did Phantoms. You know what I mean? Like, there's it's very different than what he's doing now. He was just some young Hollywood guy, and also he was dick. Like he was doing a whole bunch of like weird shit with like going after girls and all these things and cheating on his wife and all that stuff and drinking and part. Like he had
his demons, Mike. He had his demons.
Bro, I'm not judging him. I'm just saying that.
I don't know. When you call him a dick, it kind of feels like you're judging him. It kind of
well,
feels
no, I mean he was doing things that were dick. Like he was a dick. It doesn't mean he's a dick now. He was a dick then.
I agree. I'm a big fan of Ben Affleck, and I hope it goes. I hope it works out. I'm just worried about him. Is all I'm saying. Again, I know it's ridiculous to say that because I've never met the man. I don't know the guy. I'm just in my mind. It's like you're gonna get all dressed up and dolled up, and then you're gonna go to these fancy parties, and they're gonna have booze, and then it's not.
He's gonna lose his job at Foot Locker, man. Poor Ben, little Benny.
You saw Benny? Man. You saw Benny from the hood. You saw Benny from the Bronx.
Benny from the Bronx. He lost his job at the Foot Locker, bro. What are you gonna do, man? He got in with the wrong girl, bro.
Look, I just need this bit of nostalgia, okay? Like they're getting back together. Gen Z's finally discovering squirts. Like there's certain things that are happening. They are. Oh, they are.
How are those two the same?
These time periods. Cyclical. Things being cyclical. There's a thought process there.
No, I understand. It does feel very much. There's an author I like called Kurt Vonnegut. He's wrote this book called Timequake. Of
course.
And you know Kurt Vonnegut. Yes. But he did a book where like time skips back 10 years, and then everybody's forced to relive the same events of those 10 years without being able to change it. So everyone's just on like autopilot for those 10 years, knowing everything's gonna happen. So Neri is of the mindset of like, no, the J-Lo, they're just gonna do everything exactly the same.
It's not even about it being exactly the same. I just feel, I mean, look at everybody she dates. She never hangs out in a like t-shirt and hoodie and type of like. She's not, like every couple. There's one couple like whenever somebody starts dating, especially with celebrities. There's like the picture of Sierra when she was dating that rapper. And she was dressed like he dressed, which was very rapper-ish, right? And then she meets her now husband, the quarterback from the Seattle Sonics, Wilson. What's his name? I forget his name already. Russell Wilson. And now she's like, he's dressed in suits and she's like dolled up and like evening gown.
That happens in couples, though.
There's that meme where it says like it's all like that inspirational, that fake inspiration shit that's on Instagram, and she's like, depending on who you're with, is who you know what I mean. It's who, that type of shit. Like you get with the right man, and he takes you and he brings you up, not he, whatever the fuck. And I always think about that with J-Lo, because I was like J-Lo always brings her dudes up. Like if you want to date me, I feel like
get at my level.
Yeah, I feel like when she takes applications for people to start dating her, she has to go through the closet. I feel like she has to go through the closet. Like I got to go through your closet and see if you can handle this.
Fucking sign me up. Where do I apply? Yeah. Where online service? Are they on Indeed.com? Like where do I apply for?
Wasn't he in on that website, that Tinder for celebrities?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
here's the thing. He was dating Ana de Armas just recently. Like recently, he was. Ana de Armas is Cuban actress. She was in Knives Out.
That's right. She
was in Blade Runner 2049. She's beautiful. Like she's stunning.
Like did you see Knives Out? Yeah,
I loved it. But she's dressed down.
I'm talking to Stephanie. Stephanie, did you not see Knives Out?
I have barely seen anything this year. I have a tiny 8-month-old person.
It came out in like early 2020, late 2019.
My mindset was not.
So
it's a good movie.
It's a good movie, but she plays the only person of color. It's just like
that's kind of.
We got one, baby, Latina. We got one. All right. Like,
she's Cuban, actually. Well,
wow.
She was
Latina. I said Latina. Why you gotta claim her, Mike? I said Latina. We all claiming her. We're all claiming her.
No, specificity is the most important thing.
No, can we claim her? She's beautiful. I want to claim her.
She's Latina. I said Latina, and then Mike is she's Cuban. Actually, I'm like, oh boy.
I mean, same.
I mean, we're both right. Just one of us is more right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
She's a Cuban Spanish actress, so.
but
Yeah.
what I was
More
going to say,
Just like every Cuban. You know how every Cuban is. Oh, my family's from Spain. Are they?
Yeah.
Where
yeah.
else are they from, though?
Yeah. But he was dating her, and then like here's the thing, like, what if he's just because he seems like a normal dude. He was with Jennifer Garner, he has his kids and all that stuff, and that didn't work out. They co-parent, but also like, hey, I want a companion. And then J-Lo is also richer than God and needs somebody in that world to like be with some. Like, why wouldn't you pick someone at your same, like, I mean, they're not at the same level, but he was Batman, and she's J-Lo, but hasn't had a hit in a little while. You know what I'm saying? She's J-Lo on the decline, right?
I'm saying they're more evened out. Well, not necessarily decline. I wouldn't say decline.
She's plateaued.
She's still J-Lo.
She's still amazing. She's still J-Lo. I'm not.
She's still J-Lo.
But she's not like when remember how she was like in every movie. She was like in 2 movies every year, and then had an album come out, a video with Ja Rule or whatever, and then like she was everywhere. Now she's not as everywhere,
Yeah, only the Super Bowl. That's the only place J-Lo.
She looks so amazing.
Yeah,
I was there live, so I'm not.
I know. I'm so jealous of you.
I mean, I was in the same area around J-Lo, so
you were in the same zip code as her.
Yeah, I mean, it was just me and 57,000 people between us. But aside from that, it was like
this girl's beautiful.
We locked eyes.
I just went through her Instagram.
Do you ever wonder like I made the joke, whatever, you're in the same zip code, but what if she's just like randomly in Sweetwater, like J-Lo's just randomly off Flagler,
yeah, she's like at the fritanga. J-Lo's at the fritanga, like, hey, just walks in. Can you imagine? Would you? I would. I'm telling you, man, I would love to have that fucking level of fame just to be able to pull that kind of move. Because Diddy does it, not Jay-Z. Every once in a while will still go into a fucking New York City subway. He'll still ride the subway every once in a while. Not a lot, not every day, but every once in a fucking while. Like it can. So can you imagine? I would love to be that level of fame, like J-Lo level of fame, and walk into a fritanga. Like just walk in there and be like, hey.
Just to watch people's minds.
How's the guy of Pinto today? And watch people's faces melt. And be like, so it's good.
Throw it at her like,
get her on the whistle.
In like a styrofoam container, just like.
Can you imagine? And then they bring out the one piece of plate, the one real plate that they have in the fucking joint. You don't eat off silverware. You eat off that one special plate. And then like yeah, I would. And then the fucking owner of the place is like, I told you that this plate is only for special occasions. This is that special occasion. It's like that. It finally happened. That's how my mom was when we were growing up. We couldn't sit on the couches because they were for that. It was like, that was for a company.
Yeah. Oh, everyone had the special.
Yeah, nobody comes over, Mom. Like, there's no money that comes over. Like, what are you doing?
It's untouched. This plastic is brand.
I feel like as millennials, it's like it's a goal that I don't know if we're gonna hit, but I want one day to have that extra living room. Like I want to have that living room. The possibility of being like, oh, we don't use that unless we have guests. I feel like that'll make me feel like, yes, this is my full circle.
So
like you made it. Like you made a moment.
Like I made it.
Hilda says that Sean, and I'm assuming Sean is her significant other, her husband, said, wait, Ben is with J-Lo, so Anna's back in the market? Yes.
Good luck, Sean.
There's no rule that says that they can't date us. There's nothing that says that. Look, Matt Damon married
married a fucking waitress, a bartender from Hollywood, Florida.
Do we see it a lot the other way around, though?
It was an automatic. So my ex-girlfriend used to work at was there that night that they met, and used to work at the same bar as that lady. And she would constantly tell me, she's like, I could have been with Matt Damon. I'm like, that hurts my feelings, asshole. Like, what are you doing? I'm with
but also
I get her. I kind of get it.
Like, she's just like she looks at you, and you guys are watching the Bourne movies, and she's like, just like.
She's like, if I was like just on the other side of the bar, if I was just like on that other side of the bar.
She asked me to watch that bar too, and I said no because it wasn't my turn. I'm so stupid.
I'm like, yeah, that's the one thing. You just standing there would have been the one difference between him and like his soulmate or whoever. they've been married forever. But like it's like that's the dream of any like dude to be like what's J-Lo's backup dancer? I forget his name. The one that she married that was like this nobody.
Oh yeah, that was like her first.
Okay,
that was
so
like she wasn't
I don't-
established. That was like
So out of curiosity, because like I can't remember off the top of my brain, like, do we see that happen a lot the other way around? Because like sometimes you'll see men in Hollywood and stuff like that who finally like gotten with someone who's outside of the industry whatsoever, but the women usually tend to get with someone who's still in the world. So like a backup dancer, someone's still like, you're not gonna get with an accountant.
I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's like a universal thing.
Who's
Brittany,
with?
Brittany, exactly. Exactly my point. She's like, she has a boyfriend that she's had for years, but it's like he's not an entertainment. He's like a nobody. I don't want to say, I hate saying that.
I hate saying nobody because like
I get it. I
in the
was
world.
back to myself before you did, Mike. I don't want to say nobody. I said nobody in the sense of like he's nobody famous. He's not in the industry at all. He's a good-looking dude. No, don't get me wrong, but he's not of anybody. I can't tell you his name right now. If Missy was here, she might tell you his name. I can't tell you his name.
But it's like, this guy, he's a nobody. Yeah, no, he's just like, he's an emergency room doctor. He's a nobody. He just saves people's lives. He's not.
He's a surgeon. He's just like the lead surgent at a hospital.
Yeah, he's
Brittany,
not
I'm trying to think
lead
of other
attorney.
celebrities. I'm trying to think of other celebrities who married female celebrities who married or hooked up with entertainment.
Well, it becomes.
So I'm thinking like actually seriously live together.
There's a lot of ancillary stuff in terms of like
I'm
in Hollywood.
sorry. You're gonna need to define that word before you continue.
Connected.
The stuff that is connected to, but not necessarily fake. Like there's people who do
entertainment law,
production, lawyers, people who run businesses that are centered around it. You know, people who live in Hollywood, who work in that sphere, but aren't necessarily connected to movie studios or acting or anything like that, TV or whatever. You know, so it's like people who are successful at other things, but they just happen to be in Hollywood could be, like what I'm saying is just because they're not known doesn't mean they're not like in the same circles.
Her boyfriend that she's been dating for years is Sam Asghari. Good-looking dude. He's a 39-year-old. She opened up about the next steps he wants to take with Spears. My priorities in life are to remain humble and understand where I came from and where I'm going. Whatever the fuck that means. But it doesn't say anything about what he does.
Or like how they met.
That's what he does.
Yeah, that's what he does. He fucking does Britney. God,
his job is Britney Spears' boyfriend.
Yeah, understand where I can. The next step. Yeah. There's nothing about. I'm reading this article. I'm like, I'm just.
Yeah, but see, like that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not in.
But wouldn't it say like? Wouldn't it say Sean, whatever the fuck his name is, and then be like Sam Asghari, entertainment lawyer? Like, wouldn't it say like if he was in the industry, wouldn't he say something?
Possibly.
I mean, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he. I mean, they wouldn't say that if he was something else.
It says, "I want to take my career to the next steps when it comes to acting."
But he wants to be an actor.
So he wants to be an actor.
I mean, if you don't know who he is, he's probably he's either a low-level actor or he wants to get into it. But that's me. That you could say the same thing about me. You know?
I want to get into acting too. Doesn't mean I'm gonna. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen. But then again, I'm not fucking Britney, so what? I mean, I get it.
My curiosity of this just comes from like the whole like, oh, that could be us, like, Anna's back on the market kind of thing. Like if this girl's back on the market, then it's just anyone can meet her. But like how? Like how does just anyone?
So his IMDb bio says Sam Asghari is an American actor that is up and coming in the TV/film industry.
Right.
And up and coming is grammatically incorrect. It has up with uppercase U, but it's in the middle of a sentence, and then like that no.
Yeah, I think it's up and coming is an actual.
Yeah.
I think
he wrote
that. Like a descriptor. I don't know.
He wrote that himself.
Yeah.
He wrote that.
That's the dream, though. Like to meet. That's the whole. There's a million like rom-coms about it where like these two people meet in a random situation, and then it's like,
just a girl sitting in front of a boy, telling him that it's that
If it's
fucking
Notting
scene.
Hill, or like when like there's a bunch of them where it's like, oh, that's the princess of whatever the fuck, and you're like met her at the supermarket. It's fucking Aladdin. Aladdin has it where she's like pretending to be poor.
Everyone wants to be a street rat.
Everyone, well,
Street
sometimes
rat,
you just want a street rat.
I don't buy that. All right, so
like,
it's time for
there's a
Am I the
beautiful
Asshole?
princess that's like, I can't wait to fuck this homeless guy.
All right, it's time for Am I
That's
the
what
Asshole?
Aladdin is.
He's
He's
just
a
down
homeless
here.
dude.
He's a
He's a
hot
street
homeless guy.
He's a street
With a
rat.
monkey.
With a monkey friend. I want a fucking monkey owning homeless man.
Yeah, if you actually really paint it in that way, you're like, she's a princess who fell in love with a homeless man whose best friend is a monkey.
I'm gonna give up my kingdom.
I don't even want to say best.
Man.
I don't even want to say best friend. His only friend.
Yeah.
It wasn't even just his best friend. It wasn't like I have plenty of friends.
Who he actually has conversations with. Like he talks to a monkey.
Like, what if it was like he was Abu's friend, not the other way around? Where he was like, it's like, yeah, that's my. It's like, oh, why are you hanging out with that human guy? And Abu's like, he's my friend.
You know, he's all right.
He's on hard times.
Hard times. We steal apples every once in a while. I mean, it's it's fine. It'll work out. It'll work out.
Aladdin calls Abu his best friend, but Abu talks about his best friend in front of Aladdin. That's the level of their friendship.
All right, so
yeah, I want to fuck that.
Oh yeah, he's part of his friend group. Like,
I don't think Aladdin would be in Abu's top 8.
No, that's true.
I don't think that would happen.
Number one is
all right, so I guess I'm gonna be the one having to read the Am I the Asshole because you're on your phone, Mike. So this is my worst nightmare.
Do you want to throw it to me, Nary? Okay.
No,
I can go get my iPad actually.
No, it's fine. I can read, people. I can actually fucking read.
We're protecting you.
Yeah, I know. Like, you guys are so protective. Like you guys came in so strong that I was like, okay, now it's offensive. Now it's offensive. Like it would have been better if you would have been jokingly like, but you guys were so sincere.
This is my worst nightmare. Like, no, sorry, hey, we're okay.
I got you.
All right,
I can
so
do it. It's fine.
If you're new to the podcast, or even if you're new in the last few months, all right, when we first started podcasting 9 years ago, I made the mistake of reading something that I had not read before, but I was reading something, and it was like an article, like kind of what I was doing now with that Time article about Britney's boyfriend. And I was trying to not read it as if it was an article. I was trying to just get the bullet points kind of deal. So I was trying to skip the says John, 29-year-old John. I was trying to skip that part and just get, and then it came out all fucked up, and it sounded awful. And I made fun of myself saying like, oh man, I can't fucking read. And then that's it. It stuck. It's been 9 years of fucking people like, Nary can't read. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I can actually read. I was just trying to like improvise on the spot, change up, or whatever. Fuck you. All right, so
he's upset about it.
There's a couple we have. We have Am I the Asshole for not talking to my cousin and not going to her wedding over a prank? Is that the one that we read last time, Mike?
No, we read that one.
Okay,
what was
so
the one you just sent?
I just sent the Am I the Asshole for making my wife choose between me and her best friend?
That's a classic.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I don't know. I haven't read this one.
All right. So neither have I. I don't read these. I was hoping somebody else would have read it, but that's fine.
I didn't get the link.
I, male 36, am preparing for my upcoming surgery at the end of May. I have respiratory conditions that I have been suffering from, and my wife has been very supportive and accommodating of all my needs. She has endured so much by shouldering this burden with me, and I can never describe how much supportive she's been. These are not my grammatical errors. Just to give that disclaimer for those, oh, look, he can't fucking read. This is this guy. And I caught myself already twice fixing his grammatical errors as I go along. I'm not going to do that anymore because then I'm going to fuck it up. And it's going to be like, all right.
Yeah. I'm glad that we picked also one that has medical stuff in it. Good. Here we go.
All right. Here we go. So she has endured so much by shouldering this burden with me, and I can never describe how much supportive she's been with everything that has been going on with me. That last sentence wasn't necessary. You already said it.
Just go with the story.
Just
There.
go.
We know you
The
can read.
the problem is that her best friend's wedding is at the end of May, specifically on the 27th, and my surgery takes place on the exact same date. Now, 27th was not the original date of her friend's wedding. It was supposed to be on May 18th, but it got changed. Her friends informed us about it on short notice, and my wife wanted to go, but it's an 8-hour trip since the trip will be held at the groom's hometown. My wife and I discussed this, and I bluntly told her that I needed her there for my surgery. She told me that that's her best friend and that this will hopefully be her only wedding.
Wow.
Already doesn't sound like a lot of fucking
Yeah.
there's a lot of faith. Hopefully this will be her only wedding. Um, her only wedding, and she wanted to attend. She asked if I could get a friend as my support, but I just didn't think this was right, and and was even puzzled that she even asked me to get a substitute while she goes off to her best friend's wedding. I asked if her friend's wedding was more important than my health. She argued that there was nothing wrong with it and I won't need her since the medical team will take care of me. Then she said that by refusing, I was making her choose between me and her best friend. We went back and forth on the argument, and she insisted she wants to attend her friend's wedding. I told her that she was being unreasonable and never expected her to prioritize a wedding over my health. She loudly yelled, quote, "What do you want me to do? I might lose my friend over this," end quote. Then stopped talking to me. I think I handled this badly and acted in ungrateful manner, but I think she's the one who doesn't understand the difference since my surgery is an emergency and if her best friend is a good friend, then she'd understand, right? So, am I wrong for what I said? And scene. Got it. Nailed it. Just gonna go on and say that.
There's gonna be a round of applause for Neri Sai. A round of applause. Good job.
Yolanda says Neri is grading the phonics as he reads. Yes, that's true.
I'm gonna you go first, Steph. Let's hear you, and then I think I'm gonna make everybody angry at me again.
Really? Okay. I don't know how you're going to disagree with this, but like, okay, there has to be some sort of weird dynamic between these two supposed friends. If she's going to lose her friend over like her husband having a pulmonary like surgery and the friend not understanding that she has to be there for him because it's her fucking husband. Like, it's one of the things where I'm like, bitch, do you have someone on the side that you have to go see? Because it makes no sense why you're so adamant about going to this event that was rescheduled when no matter what, he has a surgery. Unless it's a minor, like, elective thing where he's correcting an ingrown toenail, I don't understand why you wouldn't be there.
As somebody who's had an ingrown toenail, that's no fucking joke. That shit hurts. But go ahead.
No, it doesn't hurt. Like, I have one too. That's why it's on my head.
Shit
I'm
fucking
like, do I
hurts.
want to do that? But like, the freaking date, like, I've missed out on friend stuff because I'm over here, like, can't get near things, whatever. Every one of my friends who's a true friend completely understands if I can't make it to things. I will try my damnedest because they mean something to me. But if you're really a friend, you understand what the other person's, like, limitations are, what they can and can't do. And if you know someone's spouse has health problems and they have a scheduled surgery on a given day, you know already that if your thing gets rescheduled, being like, oh, odds are so-and-so is not going to be able to be there. If she's being, like, not understanding the fact that her friend can't go, like, there's something else fucking happening. Like,
right.
Somewhere.
So I will say this does suffer from the.
Wait, Mike. Before you get into your thoughts, we got a comment. Just want to get through the comments. Yolanda saying, is she in the wedding or just invited? Because if either, like,
he didn't make reference to her being in the wedding. He said that she wants to go.
Yeah. So maybe she's the Abu of that relationship. So maybe, or she's the Aladdin of that relationship because she said, she said, "Oh, she's my best friend." But if she was if you
If
were
you
her
were
Would
best,
you be in the
best
wedding party?
wouldn't you be in the wedding? Wouldn't you be the maid
Yep.
of honor or some shit?
Yep. It sounds like they live apart from each other. 8 hours is enough to say that you don't live near each other. You know what I mean? That's a drive.
Yeah.
That's a fucking
So
drive.
that's
Well,
a
it's the
fucking
guy's
drive.
hometown.
Well,
So.
it's the guy's hometown. That's not that they don't
Yeah.
live close to each other. It's that they're getting married in the guy's in the guy's hometown.
Sure. What I'm saying is that it's also not like there. It feels like there's. This is one of those. What I was going to say. It suffers from the idea that there's more going on than what's on the page, right? This guy is clearly presenting his argument, and he made a point to show that she was flying off the handle and all that stuff. Here's the thing: as a medical professional, the recovery is so much more important than the act. Like, she's not the surgeon. She's not going to cut him open. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be fucked up for a while afterwards. Like, like, what I'm saying is that if this is something that got changed or whatever, there should be more understanding. Of course, there should be better communication, like there should be in all of these things. But like, the surgery day isn't necessarily like the
most important part of the recovery.
No, not of the
Or the
recovery,
family.
but at the same time, when you're someone's significant other, you also become a bit of their mouthpiece a little bit when something's going on. You're gonna have family that's checking in, people who are asking questions. You have to be fielding things. You just have to be around if something goes down. He's not asking her to perform the fucking surgery, but he's asking her to be there for him as support because he's going through a big surgery and she will be so far away. So like if something happens.
Right. So here's the thing. I think that. So I don't think he's an asshole for wanting her there. Of course, he wants her there. I think there's like. I think they're both. There's more to it than than what's on the page. I think both of them are assholes. I think both because for her to be like, oh, you're making like for him to be like, hey, it's me or your friend. What are you doing? You know, like this type of thing. It's like I feel like that's a kind of a shitty position to put your significant other in. But I also think that other lady was like. I don't know. It feels like exaggerating, but then again, we're only getting one side of the story. But for there to be that much, like I'm gonna lose my friend over this. I don't buy it. There's more to it than that. I think there's like both people are coming off pretty shitty here.
And also, how weird is it? Because like you brought up the whole like, okay, like maybe they're not as close friends or whatever, right? Like. If someone's actually very much your close friend and something had to get scheduled and you knew that their significant other was having a surgery that day, you would know that they're having a surgery that day. You wouldn't put this event on that day. And then for some reason that caused like weirdness.
This is a COVID wedding, so you'll take what you can get. I mean, there's extenuating circumstances in terms of like what's happening in the rescheduling and all. Like the world happens. Like there's an inherent amount.
Sure,
of,
but
like,
you would be understanding of someone not being able to go if you had to reschedule something. Like you would, if they'd be like, "Oh fuck, it's so fucked. I have to reschedule. I know it's on the same day."
Yeah, I don't think this girl. I mean, again, this is where we get into
changed the date to the same day we're going to Universal. I'm sorry, we can't make it.
Yeah.
Right, that's a little more annoying.
That's an excuse that we get here in Miami all the time. Any other date, I would have done it, bro. But we're going to Universal that day. And then in Miami, we're like, no, it makes sense. I get it. I understand.
Yeah. Well, the idea of like, so what I'm saying is that I think that there's more to it. Like, what surgery is this guy getting? He's getting some pulmonary surgery, but there's other, like, what it really is it? You know, like, there's a lot of nuance here. This is one of those where it's impossible from this thing to really determine who the asshole is because the way the guy is presenting this, he's of course writing her to be the one that's flying off the handle and whatever. I'm gonna lose my friend. Really, I don't think she will. But then again, now we're speculating on stuff that's not in the post itself. But I think that the recovery is more important. It's either or. If she wanted to, if there was something that this truly is presented as it is, that it's her best friend and I've been dying for, like maybe she is in the wedding, maybe she whatever it is, then I could understand her going there and then coming back the next day to make sure that the recovery is the part, but then also like making sure that someone else is there for him at the time. You know what I mean? Like,
no, Mike.
Calling in
that's her spouse, man. It's a surgery. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. It wouldn't even matter if it was the original wedding date. You go to the surgery. That's just the bottom line. The fact that they happen to change the wedding to the surgery date gives you even more of an out to go. I'm not going to that wedding, and I'm gonna use a line that historically or stereotypically a lot of women have used. It's not about even necessarily going to the surgery. It's about I wanted you to want to be at the surgery.
I want you to want to do it.
Yeah, I want you to
Oh,
want
okay.
to do it. The fact that you
I
didn't
understand
want
that.
to do it,
Yeah.
had it been the other way, had you said, I'm going to go to the wedding, you would have let the guy be the gentleman and be like, babe, it's fine. Go. Like, it's up to you. Don't worry about it. Look, Rookie says, should have said some passive aggressive shit and said, I don't know, do whatever you want. And then whine about it as
When you went to the
when
wedding.
you went to the wedding, like a
Yeah.
well adjusted adult.
I'm coming at again. You know, I do. You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm coming at it from the medical side of things, where it's like, man, whatever. You know that
Yeah,
she's not
but
touching on
when you're
it.
in a relationship, Yolanda
But yeah,
says it
you're
best.
right.
I get sex from my significant other, Yolanda says, not my friend. I'm gonna go to the surgery. He's not the asshole.
Interesting.
I don't know if he's not an asshole because I think he is an asshole as well, but he's a justifiable asshole because I think his feelings are hurt that she doesn't immediately want to say, no, I'm going with you to I'm going to the surgery.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing
He's
of like you should
he's a
want
reactionary asshole.
yeah,
He's an asshole because of
yeah,
how he reacted, not the initial thing.
correct.
Right.
Right.
She should want to be there. She should want to be there. And it's another thing. It's another thing if
The
they
fact that
have
this is such a tough decision for her is kind of
like, yeah, that's
asshole.
kind of it. But here's the thing, and he built her up in the beginning of the thing. He said she's been supportive and creative, like she's been amazing,
Yeah.
she's been this and that.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird that she still wants to go to the like maybe she needs a break, I guess, because she's been so supportive and she's been so. I mean, that's understandable too, but I could understand if they have kids and she said, "Look, I gotta stay home and take care of the kids. I got young kids, you know, like Vanessa. Like Vanessa right now, we have 3 kids. If I happen to go into a surgery and Vanessa couldn't, I wouldn't want her to go. I wouldn't like if it was at all possible. I would be like,
Yeah. Well, because that's still part of your life together.
yeah.
And the
you
thing
gotta
is, like,
stay
when
home
you
with the kids.
commit to marrying someone, you're creating this new. It's a, it's a big fucking shift for a reason. It's like a whole new life that you're living. There's like
Wouldn't
unit.
it be great if she was like, I need to go to that wedding, and they're like, instead of my surgery, and she was like, they're gonna have a fucking cake that's gonna be to die for. So I gotta get. And what if that was the like? No, you don't understand. I gotta get to that cake.
It's like, oh, baby, but you know how much I love the electric slide? Come on. You know. Come on, baby.
We can do it here. It's not the same.
It's not the same. You should want
I've
me
been
to want the
practicing my
electric
Cupid
slide
shuffle for so
experience.
long. I need
Right foot, let's
Macarena.
stop. No. Right foot, let's not stop.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
You're right. There's so much again with all of these. There's always that like, let's dive
They're
in
pitching
and, like,
it a
pick
certain way.
apart. Yeah, like there's so much more going on in this situation. So in my mind, like I would love to know what the other side of the story is.
Yeah.
Like watch this like it's not even a procedure, like it's not even like a surgery. It's just something that's like, yeah, he's done it 16 other times. It's a thing he does regularly. It's not that big a deal. And my friend's getting married. You know what I mean? Like watch it like be something that the guy,
Yeah, it'd be fucked if it was that. It'd be fucked if he was just like going in for an actual appointment, checking in on something, and then doesn't want her to go to like at that point I get it. But even then, like if she supposedly has been so supportive and so with him throughout this whole thing, you would expect that she'd kind of know what's up.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
Also,
there's more
just this
to
whole
it
thing
than
about the other friendship is just weird. Like, it's just the fact that she might lose a friendship for not showing up. Maybe Ben Affleck is going to the
Tony
wedding.
says maybe
That-
Ben Affleck is going to the wedding.
my dad has
I
made an
mean-
appearance.
Oh, that's your
And
dad.
he dropped a fucking good joke. That's good. Guys,
Welcome Mike's dad to the podcast for the first
What?
time.
where are your families? Why is my family the only one keeping this show afloat?
Well, the show's in English, so my family's out. So there goes that. You're not gonna get my mom or my dad. You're not gonna get any of these
That's
people
true.
that are like, they're like, ¿qué dice? ¿Qué dice? I don't know, no lo entiendo.
They're at the
Um,
fritanga with J-Lo.
I know. We have time for one more. Am I the asshole?
Mhm.
Am I the asshole for making a deal with my mother-in-law, which led to her never meeting my children?
Whoa.
That's a title.
Okay. Ooh.
That's a
Yeah.
title.
Let's
Alright.
drop it.
I have 3 kids ranging from 15 to 8. and I have been happily no contact with my mother-in-law for 16 years. When I met mother-in-law, she absolutely hated me. She had been cool with the past girlfriends. Everyone swore she was so nice and laid back when I wasn't around, but she despised me. She did everything she could to exclude me, and she was always taking digs. I'm not the type to just take it laying down, and it turned nasty. I know I said things I'm not proud of. Then she went on to another paragraph, which doesn't make sense because that should have been ending in a comma. That's a proposition, but whatever. Let's move on.
We know
My,
you
Get
can
it? You
read.
can read.
yeah, I'm fucking proving it. My husband tried to stick up for me. He tried to set boundaries, but mother-in-law would rather be right than happy. She sounds like a woman. He
Ow.
tried.
Calmate.
He tried
Mhm.
putting her in timeout. Mother-in-law is competitive as fuck, and when her timeout was over, she wouldn't answer her phone. At the time, I was too pushy for him to choose me.
Huh?
It was literally ripping my husband's soul out. I don't know if she knows what literally means, but that's nothing. All right. We went on a short trip with her, and it ended with me screaming at her. My husband feeling so defeated, he broke down in tears, and mother in law actually had a panic attack and ended up with hives. And in parentheses, she wrote, not the first time she had a physical reaction because being around me upset her so much. It just occurred to me that we can't go on like that. The time of us, the three of us, I'm sorry, the three of us had a long conversation about what we wanted. Mother-in-law wanted to be able to see her son without seeing me. I wanted to not put up with her shit anymore, and my husband didn't want to lose either of us. During the talk, I learned that mother-in-law was totally indifferent to having grandchildren. So I proposed the deal. Mother-in-law and DH. I don't know what DH
Dear
is.
husband.
Dear husband. Oh wow. Mother-in-law and husband. I'm not going to say dear husband. Mother-in-law and husband could have whatever relationship they wanted outside of me. She could have her family dinners and her family pictures without having to freak out about me not being family. But she would never meet our kids. Mother-in-law was chomping at the bit. She loved it. The next year, she was one of the most peaceful. The next year was one of the most peaceful in my life. My husband was finally happy. Mother-in-law was no longer a basket case, getting physically ill over the stress, and I had my first child. Mother-in-law never once broke our agreement. She has never asked to meet them. I'm not even sure she knows their names. My husband has lunch with her about once a week and goes to family dinners or cookouts at her house a couple of times a month. He even
Without his
spends
kids.
he even spends Christmas Eve with her. Recently, so they're clearly not Hispanic because that's a big deal for us.
Yeah.
Recently, my two oldest children have expressed interest in meeting her. Honestly, I worry that it is because she has money and does a lot of cool shit. Husband doesn't go on family vacations without us, but my oldest found her aunt on social media and now knows how much they travel and that mother-in-law has multiple vacation houses. We are comfortably middle class, and all of that money comes from her husband, who is sister-in-law's dad, but not not my husband's. Still, we are talking it over and deciding if they should meet her. I'm sorry. However, both kids have told me I was selfish for striking that deal, and they feel that I used them as bargaining chips. She did. I don't
Yeah.
have any family on my side, and they are really mad that they missed out. Now, I don't know. I don't think mother in law is a good person, but her life does look pretty great on social media. My kids seem really mad at me, so now I'm questioning everything.
Everyone in this story sucks.
Yeah, there's a lot of shitty people in this story. First of all, keep your mouth shut, ride the gravy train. What are you doing? Go on vacation. What are you shut the fuck up? Come on, what are you doing?
That's a
She
tough
got
one.
money.
It's
I
expensive
don't know.
taking teenagers to a vacation. Like, it's nice if someone else pays for it.
Rookie says that she's living the dream.
I don't.
But so look, I'm not married. You
It's a
guys are
tough one,
married.
man.
You know that when you get married, you marry your wife and your partner, your spouse, but you also marry their family too.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
like there's like I can't even comprehend the process of like you guys have your own relationship outside of us. Like what a weird
I could never.
That's
I
so
could
fucked
never
up.
be with someone who's cool with that shit.
That part I'm not so. It's not too crazy to me. The crazy part comes in the frequency of that outside life.
Yeah.
Like you're going to dinners and barbecues once every 2 weeks. Like you going out. Like how do you go to a bar? How do you go to a family barbecue without your kids?
Yeah,
And you
that's
pretend-
so weird.
Yeah,
And like,
that's
if
true.
the husband
Fuck.
really sucks in this too, like the fact that he never, like,
Yeah, like how do
everyone's
you
angry at the wife and putting it on her that she did this bargaining chip. He signed off on it too, though. Like, he also sucks in this.
because here's the thing. He's the lesser of the assholes. Because I think he's the lesser of the assholes.
I disagree.
Because, okay,
Hard disagree.
Let me get there, man. I think he's the lesser of the assholes. I'm not saying he's not an asshole. I think he's the lesser of the assholes because he's put between a rock and a hard place between two women that he loves, and they're clearly not getting along. There's fucking anxiety attacks. There's all this shit. There's all this stuff going on, and there's only so much a human could be like, like trying to play both sides without getting burned by both sides, without hurting both sides. So when his wife proposed the deal prior to them having kids, it's easy to not think about these children as human beings because they don't exist yet. So when his wife proposed a deal, I could see him go whatever the fuck it takes to fucking calm the situation down because I can't keep going on this way, right? Like he's got to be like the rock in the hard place kind of guy.
This has been going on for 16 years.
Yeah.
Like if their kids were like toddlers or like little, like it's kind of a little more understandable for this weirdness to be happening. But
wild,
like,
that's so wild.
Yeah,
16
like of course teenagers are trying to like hook up with like the rich. They're teenagers. Teenagers are always assholes. Like they're like that looks fucking cool.
But here's the thing. She's an asshole because her kids are right. She did use them as bargaining chips. Legitimately did use them as bargaining chips.
Yeah.
However, the mother-in-law is as an asshole because she flat out agreed to that. Like what I can even
give a shit.
I cannot imagine my parents making that deal with anybody and being like, fine, if you have kids.
Do you think that this woman maybe like thought that they weren't gonna last? So this woman probably wasn't gonna be in the picture for very long.
Yes, but how many? I mean, by the time you have your first grandkid and then your second one comes along 2 years later,
at no point do they reevaluate.
At what point do you not break the agreement? And at what point do you not bring it up? Like, hey, maybe we were too rash. Maybe we, like, you know what I mean? Like,
she doesn't even know their names. Like,
may not. She said that they may not.
That part's not
but what I'm
hyperbolic.
getting at. But what I'm getting at is that like 16 years, at no point when the first kid was born, when the first kid's first birthday, when the second kid was born, any of his birthday, like this, the husband is I think a big asshole. Everyone is
He
like
would spend Christmas Eve without his children.
Yeah, but they're wide. That's Christmas Eve. That's not Christmas Day. To them,
but still, it's a holiday.
To them, Christmas. So what? So is Flag Day. We're not gonna fucking give a shit about Flag Day. Let's not put all holidays.
Christmas Eve.
Not all holidays matter. Fuck that. Let's be real. To white people, Christmas Eve is not the big deal that it is to us. To us Latinos, Christmas Eve is the fucking day.
Is the day. Yeah.
So that's.
I would say they're assuming that they're white, but they're definitely not Latino.
Yeah.
No way. A Latino grandma's like, that's fine. I don't want to see my grandkids.
Yeah, I mean. Well, this is why I didn't like the movie. This is why I hated Everybody Loves Raymond, right? That show was fucking trash, and I'm tired of pretending it wasn't because everyone on that show was either an asshole or a pussy. Like there was no one stood up for themselves. No one.
That's why I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch that show.
I couldn't watch that show, and I'll tell you when it happened. Yeah, I'll tell you when I really started to hate that show when they did the flashback episode and they revealed that Deborah was the one that wanted to live across the street from Gray's mom. Yeah. And it's like, hey,
that's funny.
You walked into this.
Yeah.
You chose this, and now you're mad at the results. So like everyone is
what? Wait. Are you saying that you don't like the show because it showed that a woman uh was to blame for something and yet still complained about something? Huh.
That
Fucking
is exactly
sitcom
what I
logic.
just said.
Stop.
Yeah,
But that
is
is
exactly
sitcom
what I
logic.
said.
That's literally sitcom logic. I'm like, why would you get mad at that? It's a sitcom. I mean, that's it's
No,
No,
but that's
no.
the thing.
I'm saying
I,
no.
it was tolerable because there was one that she, in my mind, Ray doesn't stand up for anyone. He doesn't stand up for his wife. The mother is a fucking passive aggressive asshole. The father is like dismissive and doesn't really interact or defend
so
anybody.
here's my
Like
question to
everyone
you,
is
Mike.
shitty. But
All right, Mike.
Deborah was
Here's my
supposed to
question.
be the one.
All right. So here's my question. Have you ever been in a relationship that your parents or mom, dad, stepmom, whichever one, pick one, vehemently did not like the person you were with?
We
No, they
already
all
know
liked
my
him more
answer.
than me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
We
it's
already
all,
know
it's
my
all
answer.
They're all in the comments.
I
Hey,
did not ask
parents,
Stephanie.
comment
I did not
away.
ask Stephanie. We know the answer. I asked Mike. No, but like that's a tough like
My dad and Yolanda are in the comment. I think my mom is also in the comment. Ask them. I've always picked. I
all
also
right,
like.
Tony, Yolanda, speak up. Is there has Mike or any of your children, because my Tony has multiple children, has any of your children ever dated somebody that you absolutely vehemently did not like? Not that they were like fine or
Oh,
like that they
well,
did not like.
I will say I make better choices than some of my siblings in terms of partners because I know there's one.
Jesus Christ. I know your dating history, so that's fucking saying something. The fact that you make better choices than your siblings.
No, and you know that all like the girls I've dated have been great. They're all nice people. My mom's
Tanya
never
says,
hated anyone.
never.
Well, that's
Is that your
good.
mom?
That must
Yeah.
be nice.
That's your she's never hated anybody. Yeah, I mean,
But whenever I hear these like horrible mother-in-law stories, like now that I have a son, I am terrified.
Yolanda says yes. Simple, yes. No exclamation mark. Just like yes. There has been
Yes.
times where yes.
Was it
where-
me or was it one of my brothers?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah,
But that's what I'm trying to. The reason I asked that, Mike, is because it's very difficult. She says she responded. She says Julian has had some doozies. She put
she
names.
called him out, bro.
She said she named names. Woo!
And I love that it's current, like it's present tense. It has sad taste. Not had.
Oh, Tony spoke up. Tony said, "My son Julian has sad taste." That's wow. That is.
Yeah, that is.
Oh my God, Julian. He said Julian.
Shit, Julian.
Why did you say that name? Your mom is laughing with Yolanda. All right. So this has turned into a weird family. This has turned into a weird family therapy session. But the only reason I brought it up to begin with, just so that Julian doesn't hate me, even though he's never met me, he's gonna be like, "You motherfucker, what'd you bring?" But the reason I brought this up is to say it's very different when you're the one in the middle between your mom, specifically your mom. I think it's easier to be between your dad and your wife because you're like, yeah, she's my wife. But it's difficult to be between your mom and your girlfriend / wife or significant other. That's a very difficult situation to be in. So we could judge him for the shit that he did. And I'm not saying that he's not an asshole. I'm just saying it's a very difficult situation to be in. Your mom says Julian is great.
Yeah, my family. Yeah, he's great. He's
Yeah.
a good.
Tanya, I know we're not debating that. We're asking about his choices of partners is what we're talking about.
That's the thing is that when you're young, you date girls that you think like you. It's like we all have girls that we dated that we didn't necessarily bring home to the family or weren't like a big part of our life. That you make bad choices, and if you're not good at recognizing those choices, like if you're not good at recognizing
if you date somebody who if you're a heterosexual man and you date a lesbian for 5 years, it might not be the best choice.
Clearly, you got to grow out of that, or there will be some repercussions.
Your dad is firing fucking fire, bro.
I love that in the comments. It's your whole family being like, "We love him, but
I love.
This is my.
Your dad
this
is literally saying, "I love the kid, but," and then puts 4 dots. Dot 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 dot.
4 dots. Yeah.
Oof.
So I love my
There's
family.
stories there.
You know, like to be fair, like this is a good example of it wasn't always nice, you know, like with my family, of like with my parents, and they're divorced, and I have my stepmom, and you know, like my stepdad here, you know, like there's definitely problems that go through, but like again, this is there's so many communication things behind the scenes. Like these posts are little like keyhole views into this relationship where like think about 16 years of this going on, and about how many different fucking chances they may have had to talk, chances they had to resolve issues, how many opportunities a third party or fourth party had to come in and be able to make a difference. Maybe like, where's the, like, how old were the kids? Did they even ask about their, what did they tell the kids when they were little? You know, like when you lie to your kids about stuff, like, wow, you know, like
the dad is leaving so frequently, going to these events and like all this stuff without them. Like, they must also have like a whole issue.
What do you tell your children when you're like,
right?
Dad, can we go somewhere this weekend? Like, I can't. I gotta go to a barbecue with your grandmother that you're not allowed to talk to. So
yeah,
I can't do it. Oh, I think he took a phone call or something. He had to like, it had to be one of those things where he went to go check on a text message, and then he just disappeared.
And then
Mike
forgot.
To the audio listener, Mike just disappeared on the call because I'm sure what I assume is that he went to go check on a whatever the fuck happened. All right, so we're saying everybody sucks. Everybody here sucks, right?
Like, everybody sucks, and I keep going back to the fact that, like, to me, I just think about the freaking husband the entire time. Like, everyone sucks, but I just think about this man in this middle of the situation. I don't necessarily feel bad for him. I actually feel very frustrated with this invisible man, because, like, going back to the sitcom logic and things like those shows, like Everybody Lives Raymond and stuff like that. The reason I couldn't watch those shows is because they show these super frustrating, unhealthy relationships with these family members. And it was like established couples who have been together for a long time. And it's been recognized that this is...
Just want to let you know that the echo has been Mike the whole time. Notice Mike's not on and there's no echo. Watch.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead, keep talking.
Okay. But yeah, like... Oh, yeah, it is been Mike. Okay. So, like, showing these couples that this has been the relationship for a long time and their whole vibe, it frustrates me just because I can't relax and watch these shows and not the entire time be like, I would fucking kill this man. I would not be able to be with this. Like, I could not. Like, I look at this and everyone's laughing. And I'm just like,
that's why this show's not called Todo Mundo Ama Raimundo. Like, that's not the fucking show, man. It's a different culture. It's one of those cultures where the guy is scared of confrontation. There are those people. I've had to like work with Dave, like, in our entire relationship, for him to be like, for me to sit there and look at him and be like, you are allowed to disagree with me. Like, you need to tell me when something's up. You need to not placate me. I will run circles around you unintentionally. If you sit there and just try to like if you just sit there and try to keep the peace, like, you're not ever gonna be happy. You're Dave's J-Lo.
100%. 100%. But he's happy about it.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure every guy's happy to be with J-Lo until they're not, you know, until they're not. So
I think saying that no matter how hot a girl is or whatever, someone out there is sick of her shit. You know what I mean? Like that kind of. Like the matter, like,
that goes both ways, though. No matter how funny a guy is, some woman out there is sick of their shit. I say that because that's the only thing I have to offer is comedy. I don't have anything else. Like, I don't.
Well, and also, like, no matter how great you are and something like that, you're just like, someone like looks at them, they're like, man, I'm not fussed.
My wife gets that all the time. We go out somewhere and I make people laugh, right? And women have in front of me said, "Oh my God, you must love it. You must be cracking up at all times." And my wife has said, "Nah, that shit gets old quick." Like,
wow,
old quick. Like, nah, it doesn't. You must just be laughing and in stitches every day, all day. And she's like, no. No. There are times where I say some shit to Vanessa and she'll be so annoyed with me, and I'll look at her and say, you know, I was fucking charming, right? Like, this is a fucking guy. Like, I like, yeah, like, whatever I said, you used to find this fucking charming. I haven't changed. Like the one who's changed here is that your outlook of my charm no longer works on you, but it's still the same fucking charm. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like Dave's favorite thing in the world is to say is like to look at me and be like, "You love me."
Yeah.
Just reminding me because every once in a while I'm gonna have to be like, "All right."
Meanwhile, Vanessa and I have constantly, often said to each other in front of each other, like, "Why do I love you?" And like I don't know, like we've said that to each other, like, "Why do I love you?" And she said it to me, and I've said it to her about like it's just, and like we both have the same answer. We go, I don't know, I don't know what it is. I don't know, but I do love you, but Jesus. And she says the same thing to me. Anyway, so everybody's an asshole here. We're going way too long here.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for checking us out. Thank you guys for commenting. Thank you, Mercadal family, for chiming in and letting us into your family dynamic a bit.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to like talk to my family and be like, guys, step it up.
Yeah. Mike's
For real.
family is leaving all of you in the dust.
Well, again, mine is not. It's not fair for mine because they don't speak English. So
yeah, true.
No,
but mine does. So fuck that.
Yeah, yours. And they're fucking like computer savvy because I know we were in the same chat with them while you were in labor, and they were fucking active in that chat. So they should, yeah. All right, thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure you check out the audio version. Oh, by the way, just to let you guys know, I should have said this up front, and I will say this up front at the audio. I'll add this in the audio. We are now on Patreon. So make sure to check us out on Patreon. We are adding extra shit to we are adding extra content to the WuBro pod. We are doing after shows. So after this podcast is over, we will be doing an after show where we kind of let our guard down and get very personal sometimes. So if you want to go to our Patreon, go to patreon.com/WuBroPod, WuBroPod. It's the same address that our Cash App is, which is $WuBroPod, WuBroPod. So go to our Patreon, and we have a couple different tiers there where you could participate more so than you can on the live show, and there's one where you could even be on the show. So I would love to for you guys to check that out. Thank you very much. Check out Stephanie's photography at hellomydearwatson.com. Is that what it is? Or mydearwatson.com?
It's mydearwatson.com normally. Right. At the minute, we are on hiatus.
Mike's comedy and everything, all his social media and his other podcasts could be found by going following him on social media and following the links. It's at Mike Mercadal. And then my comedy and all my other stuff is at Nary Signs or whatwashisname.com. If you want a specific link to the Patreon or to anything else, it's on the Instagram bio page. There's a link tree there, so check that out. It's pretty easy. Patreon.com/WuBroPod. It's not that difficult, guys. I made it pretty easy. But we have a ton of content. We already had one in the bank, and we're about to do another one. So thank you guys for checking us out, and that's how winning is done.
We're still live.